Hi, this is Jessica Martinez, and this is my video of my clay model of a cross-section of a spinal cord. Alright, so here we have in red the white matter, and here in black is the gray matter. Up here, the tops of the butterfly wings, those are the posterior horns, and they contain the synaptic terminals for the sensory neurons. And here, the anterior horns, those are the location for the cell bodies of the motor neurons, which you can see mine is very large. And here, the lateral horns on the sides contain the visceral motor cell bodies. Here is this little hole at the bottom here, well, I guess would be the front, the anterior median fissure. This kind of separates the spinal cord, and it has twice the amount of pia mater in it. And here, the middle, the little hole here is the central canal, and it's the passageway for cerebrospinal fluid. And surrounding that hole in the middle is the gray commissure, and this communicates between the left and the right side of the brain. And here we have the dorsal root, and here we have the ventral root. And the dorsal root holds the sensory neurons, and the ventral root holds the motor neurons. Okay, and the spinal nerve here is what they call a mixed nerve, and this carries the motor, the sensory, and the autonomic signals between the spinal cord and the body. Alright, so we're going to touch up here on the sensory and the motor neurons, kind of like what they do and their functions. So the sensory neurons, which are also known as the afferent neurons, they send signals to the central nervous system. So they're moving this way towards the central organ or point. So they move impulses toward the central nervous system. So that receives the information from, or the stimuli from, a sensory receptor and enters through the dendron, right over here. And from there, it enters the cell body. And from there, it is carried down the axon until it reaches here. And those are the axon terminals, which is the end of the neuron. Alright, and then here, I forgot to mention, here which carries the cell body for the neuron, the sensory neuron, this is the dorsal root ganglion. Alright, and here we're going to touch on the motor neuron, which is located, as I said, in the ventral root. And they are also known as the efferent neurons because they move pulses away from the central nervous system. And it takes the information or a response from the brain to a muscle or organs, or the effectors, and the information enters through the dendrites of the cell body, or around the cell body, and then it transfers it to the cell body, and then it's sent down the axon until it reaches the end of the neuron, or the axon terminals. And if these connect to a muscle, the The axon terminal is called motor end plates. Alright, so that is my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye-bye.